General Hertling, Putin now says he has no doubt that Russia's goals in Ukraine will be achieved. Says it on the same day, of course, that Zelensky's in Washington. But Sergei Shoigu, the defense minister of Russia, has announced a massive increase in the size of the Russian military, from 1 to 1.5 million personnel. Now, obviously, 100,000 of them or so are already dead in Ukraine, but they're announcing a mass increase. Is this real? Could this really happen, or is it just total bluster? What do you think, General?
I think a lot of it's bluster. The point is, Mr. Putin continues to announce what he's going to do in terms of mobilization of forces. In Las Vegas, Aaron, this is called throwing good money after bad. He just continues to attempt to mobilize forces. He's seeing a great brain drain within Russia itself of young 18 to 24-year-olds leaving the country, trying to depart to avoid this kind of stuff. He has proven decidedly that he does not have the equipment. There's no doctrine that the soldiers are following that's effective. Their leaders are corrupt and immoral, and they are not. They're actually contributing to the failure as opposed to preventing it. There's a lack of ability to adapt to the battlefield conditions. And the final thought is any modern army that performs well on the battlefield has trust in their leaders, their equipment, their doctrine, and the support of the people. The Russian soldiers do not have that. So it doesn't matter how many he's mobilizing, it just means that more of them are going to die on the battlefield.
So, Andre, when the general talks about trust, we realize that does not exist in many cases between the Russian soldiers themselves, between ones who are already there and new conscripts, and between any of them and their commanders. That latest intercepted phone call, and I know you and I have talked about so many of these, right? But the one that we just heard, talking about people pulling a 500, right, and just F-bomb, I'm not fighting anymore, just walking off. This is in line with so many calls and videos that we have heard and seen that show a dire situation among the Russian troops, major equipment issues. Putin knows about all this, doesn't he, Andre? Or does he not know about all this? Is he in the dark and doesn't have any idea how bad things are? What's the reality?
Well, to be honest, today when he decided to speak to his military commanders, he looked a bit delusional. It looks like he still believes that he is in total control of the whole situation. He constantly was talking about the new objectives for the war, that we have this conflict for centuries, we're going to win, we're going to increase our army. And he constantly addressed these generals as the only audience who completely understood him. And the problem is that by that moment, some kind of dissent we had in public opinion, in Russian social media, were suppressed by the Kremlin and by the Russian security services. So the only picture Putin actually sees is complete obedience, and that is why he still believes that he is in control.
General, today, Putin said, quote, we need to continue to support and improve the readiness of Russia's nuclear weapons. What do you think Putin's next move will be here? He's been so clear that there would be one in response to the Patriots. So what does he do?
Well, he's not going to have much of an effect on the Patriots, to be honest with you, Aaron. And as you talked to some of your last guests about the size of that force, that's a relatively small battery. It's going to have probably 6 launchers around Ukraine, around Kyiv.
Yep.
They're going to be heavily guarded. And he doesn't have the capability to attack them. What we've seen Mr. Putin and his military do is attack more of the civilian population than he has Ukraine's military. So the comment about continuing to polish his nuclear capability is something he's been saying and threatening since the beginning of this war. And he has made a lot of bad mistakes, both operationally, tactically, and strategically. This would be a huge misstep on his part. And I think he knows that the repercussions for the use of any kind of nuclear weapons would be catastrophic, because that's what President Biden and others within the administration has told him and his administration. So this is just more threats, more bluster by Mr. Putin. And I sure hope his nuclear force is a lot better than his conventional force, because his conventional force has not shown any capability whatsoever.
General Hertling, Andrei Soldatov, thanks to both of you this evening.